We've had 3 designations. Really, no real land change except for about 10 years ago. Basically, we've stayed pretty much the same, and except for designations over the years. The section got its start back in 1944 when Chiskin 253 and Coast Clementine were chartered. At that time, we were still going by letter designations, so I think it was Section U at that time. They belonged with the rest of California, Washington. They were all kind of one OA area at that time. 1950, Mazaba, Maquala, and Highest Chucker chartered, and they formed a section. In 1951, we have our first conference. A couple years later, they issued the first patch. We haven't been able to locate anything issued prior to 1953. In 1965, we have recorded our first neckerchief slide and neckerchief. 1972 was the last year we used the designation of 11A. This is actually the most common 11A patch out there. This was the only year that they've issued something like several hundred of the Conclave patch. 1973, our designation officially becomes W-1A. We kind of put on our Northwest tradition on the patch, Northwestern section, Area 1, because the region headquarters for Region 11 was actually in Portland, Oregon at that time. And then the first 1A neckerchief was 77. A lot of people confuse this neckerchief as being issued by Tillicum out of 392 out of Tumwater, Washington, but it's actually a W-1A neckerchief from 1977. In 1977, we created a honoring those who did outstanding service in our section. It's called the Arrow of Honor. And every year we give it to one youth and one adult, or sometimes we've given it to 2 youth instead of and no adults. But basically, unless a youth is selected, there's not an adult selected. In 1979, we introduced the Spirit Award, which is a participation award. And the first year we did that was in 79. And we did a little cheap thing where we sewed a ribbon on bottom of the Conclave patch. So it was nothing fancy at that time, but it was our first recognized Spirit Award. 1984, we had our first staff patch. There were about 25 of these issued. It's one of the toughest 1A issues out there. In fact, they frequently, when they show up for an auction, go to $500, $600. 1985, we came up with the auction donation system. And our first auction donation gift was a purple neckerchief with the silkscreen Conclave logo for that year. That is probably the most impossible thing to find in Section W-1A right now. Year 2000, we had our first jacket patch, and then we had our first Patron patch. The Patron program is if you donate $300 to the section and patches, money, materials that we can use for the Conclave, we recognize you as a patron of the section. It's a good way for us to beef up our auctions and to cut down our expenses for Conclave. Also in 2000, we came up with our first COC patch, was recognized as Conclave committee members. This one's a little bit more difficult. 2001, we finally issue a pie patch for the section, created by Roy Walter, and he decided he wanted a neckerchief patch for the section. He didn't want to just do a neckerchief, he wanted to do a neckerchief patch. This one is a little controversial. In 2000, we had a young man from Chiskin Lodge become the region chief, and he was replaced by Drew Desolate. Well, Drew Desolate was a little bit disappointed that he didn't have his own flap to give out. So the section created this section flap that he signed. There were 200 made. 2002, Tabach University is founded. And this goes along with the Drew Desolate, Matt Harris, and Rob Roseman, who started this university system. I think variations cropped up all over the nation. All 3 sections in the Northwest had some version. Western Washington was Ticumwask University. Eastern Washington, Idaho was Japichin University. So we have some creative folks on the merchandising committee. And I don't know how many of you people know Todd Hatfield, but he was my predecessor as the merchandising advisor. You see a couple hat pins here, button to promote Conclave, a sticker for NOAC, a pocket knife that actually says Section W-1S on it and has the logo right here on the blade, coffee mug, beaded flap that was given to the section chiefs for about for a 10-year period of time, a chenille, and an ink pen. Yes, I did steal that one from the auction. So in 2008, we did our last W-1A Conclave. At that time, they were doing some reorganizing in the Western region. Orca Lodge was divided back into 2. It originally was Cabrosha and Boatok, and they formed to create Orca Lodge. But then Western region decided that Boatok area should have been included in the Oregon area all along. 2008, we had our last section conclave with the original boundaries. After that conclave, the former Redwood Area Council area is absorbed by Crater Lake Council. Our new designation was changed to W-1S. I don't know why they went away from A, B, and C, and D, and all that stuff, but they decided it was best to use north, south, east. You have a west, and we have a P for, there's W6P, which is Pacific, and that's for the lodges out there in Hawaii and Japan. This was the charter member conclave patch. I based its design off of a patch issued by Juan Lamonte a few years earlier to recognize anybody who went to that conclave as a charter member of the new section. In 2009, this is the 2010 one because I missed it in 2009, we created the Guardian donation system. So if you spent $1,000 in the auction, you got a special recognition jacket patch. We make about 5 of those a year. Believe me, all 5 of them were gone. Our auctions generate anywhere from 7 to 20K a year. 2013, I decided that there had never been a bullion done in the Pacific Northwest, not for any of the lodges, or anything. So I decided that one of my legacies in the section would be to create a bullion patch. And this was my creation. And we sold out of these things in about 3 weeks. The same way as we never had a section buckle before, so I created a section buckle. We have a new generation of a section buckle, but some of these things we'd never done before in our section, and we've had success for. 2014, we saw the first national chief elected for the Pacific Northwest. There have been national chiefs from California, Arizona, and Utah, but never one for the Pacific Northwest. And Nick Denmiller achieved that honor. He was the Jamboree guide, CVC, back in the 2013 Jamboree, and he was so well liked by those he served with that when the national planning meeting came up in December of 2013, he easily won national chief. So our section does have a rich history. I thank you for your time. So are there any questions?
We rarely see anything. I even remember in 69, the Region 11 patch was very hard to get. In those decades, what would your attendance be at your conclaves?
In the 60s or so, I think the attendance was about anywhere from 200 to 300 people. We really started jumping our attendance back in the 80s when we jumped to about 300 to 400 people. 80s through the 90s. Then in the 2000s, we started having about 500 people per conclave.
How many lodges are in the section?
Our section covers what formerly was 6 lodges, but now it's 3 lodges.
That purple neckerchief from 1985, do you have one of those?
I know of one that exists right now, and that's in Shane Doran's hand.
Is there any way you can get a picture of that?